Okay, boys and girls, we're out here today at the pond. We're doing something that I've been waiting to do for, well, ever since I bought this bait. You guys can see it there. If you can't, then you're probably blind. Gigantic, sexy dog walking bait, the Mega Dog as they call it. We're out here, we're going to try to throw it today. I'm pretty darn excited about it. I have yet to really get to throw it, so I am pretty excited. We're going not really to catch anything, considering that it is like 23 degrees outside right now. Surprisingly enough, the water isn't frozen. I was really thinking it was because there's a huge cold front that came through last night, and I was really kind of not too happy because it rained all day, and I was really upset because I thought that I was not going to get any videos made out at the pond. But thankfully enough, the water didn't freeze last night, so we're out here to make a video. So here's a big cast almost to the other side of the pond, and we're going to throw it around. I'm going to teach you guys a few things about topwater fishing. Look at that bait. I don't know if you guys can see that thing, but my lord does it have an action. I can't wait for this summer to be throwing this out in the deep water for them schooling fish. My lord, it's going to be a lot of fun. Something I've noticed about this bait already, just in the few couple casts I've made with it, this thing has an absolutely insane walking style. Look at this thing. So believe it or not, this thing goes about a foot each way. When you twitch the rod tip and it walks, as I like to call them, steps, when it takes a step one way, it's about a foot wide. About 8 inches to 12 inches wide, and it is a crazy walking, a lot bigger than the smaller one and the bigger of the two original Sexy Dogs. This is a 6-inch bait. It weighs 2 ounces. I'm throwing it on my Abu Garcia Black Max combo that I bought, or actually I got for Christmas. Hang on one second. Okay, I wanted to get out of the wind a little bit more. Hopefully this will be a little bit better audio, facing away from the wind, so hopefully this will work. But right now we're throwing this with 20-pound mono. Now when I throw it to actually go and try to catch fish, I'm going to be throwing it on 65-pound spider wire braid, and the reason why that is because what I'm throwing it for could be something around a 50-inch musky or pike. My lord, this thing actually cast it pretty good. This is the heaviest bait that I own. There for a while, the heaviest bait I owned was, I believe it was my 7-inch glide bait. It was just under 2 ounces. This bait is exactly 2 ounces. So I'm pretty excited about throwing this thing, bombing it way out in the middle of the ponds and lakes that I fish, and just chucking it and twitching it back to the boat. I'm pretty excited about that. Now I want you guys to see this right here. Now I've only made like 4 or 5 casts. Look at that eyelet. Look at that eyelet. Go all the way up here. Look at this one. There's already ice forming on 90% of the guides. Actually, yeah, 95% of the guides. The only guide that doesn't have ice is this one right here. So how you fix that, you just dunk it right in the water. And since the water is obviously warm enough to stay unfrozen, it will melt the ice off. But I'm pretty excited about this bait. I can't wait to throw it. I mean, you guys can see that action down there. I mean, the bait's quite a ways away, but you can see the action from a long ways, and that'll draw any big fish that are looking for a big meal. I'm thinking about buying another one, but I think I might just stick with this one until I see how it really gets the fish going. You know, maybe, you know, if I catch a few fish on it and I realize that it's a good bait, I'll probably end up buying a few more. You know, maybe one in the bluegill pattern if they have a bluegill pattern, since this one here is a blueback herring shad profile. I might buy one that's a shad or a bluegill pattern, excuse me. Or maybe the color they call black lab. It's just a plain all black bait. Now black topwater baits have worked quite well for me in the past. Some of you guys know that my very first lure was a black head and topwater torpedo. So I think a big black walking bait like that would be a pretty good a pretty good idea to get. This thing casts really well too. It doesn't spiral. You know, something I had a lot of trouble with. I actually have a musky walking bait. It's like a musky, but it's also rated for saltwater. It's a really trashy bait. It's not very good. I actually have pretty much done and kind of gone away with it. It's not a very good bait. But it says it's rated for saltwater and muskies, but it really wasn't. And something that would happen with that bait is when you'd cast it, it would pretty much just spiral like this as it casted, as it went through the air. And when it did that, your casting distance was reduced quite a ways. So when you stick your rod tip down and you just move your rod along the side of the bank, this bait actually has a pretty cool action to it. So that makes me think that if I ever, you know, watch something following it, I could actually possibly get it to attack once it comes underneath the surface. That's pretty cool. Sometimes also something that yeah, look at this, my reel's all frozen up now. Sometimes when I reel it, try to get all this ice out here. But sometimes when I'm reeling this bait and I'm twitching the rod tip, it dives. It dives down a few inches. If you twitch it the right way, it dives down. And I think, you know, when that bait is going down through there like that right there, and then all of a sudden it just dives down a few inches, that could possibly get you some extra bites as well. Well, this rod is pretty much already iced over again. So it's, you know, this is cold temperatures. It's 27, it's actually, I think it's 24 degrees outside right now, if I remember what the radio said. But you guys can see there's some ice right there that came off my eyes of my rod. It's cold. It went from the coldest temperature that I've seen in quite a few years, which was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday it was -3 for the low and -1 for the high, I believe, or something like that. But the wind chill was like -50 in the morning. Then it went to having near 60-degree weather on Monday and Saturday, or Sunday and Monday, near 60-degree weather. And now we're right back down to the teens and low 20s. So it's, for anyone who complains about their winters being weird, come to Illinois, because it is something around here. We just had a huge rain come in. It dumped a bunch of water. When I came out here yesterday, I was actually doing wood. When I came out here yesterday, there was water. You guys can actually see. We'll walk over here for a second. You guys see where the water was pouring over the dam and going back down there. And we have a pipe that is supposed to pull in water, but there is so much water coming in all at once that it was overriding what the pipe could actually handle. And the water was just gushing out of this, and it all runs down in there, and that whole thing was flooded. I couldn't even drive my four-wheeler back there because of how much water was down there. I didn't know how deep it was. It was pretty darn bad. There's a pretty much a main street in the town just across the Wabash River from us. And I mean, there's a big pocket of grass that got pushed up here because of how much water there was pulling out. I mean, there's some big creeks that was just being flooded out because of how much water was coming in all at once. But there was pretty much main streets over in Indiana where we go sometimes to you know, eat supper and stuff like that. There was pretty much just main streets that were flooded. I've never seen water on those streets, but they were flooded up, and they were just, I mean, it was getting really bad there for a while. Straight rain pretty much 90% of the day. I like this bait. I tell you what, you guys, you know, there's very few baits. I think the last bait that I've had this much confidence in, hard bait wise, was the 130 Whopper Plopper when I first bought it. Because when I first bought it, I was really excited about it because, you know, I had never tried it out. I had never even made a cast with it yet. It was a brand new bait, and it was a big bait. It was actually the biggest bait I owned at the time, and I was really excited about it. And first cast at a brand new lake that I'd never been to before, I caught a 5-pound 2-ounce bass, which is my personal best currently. I think that was the last time I had as much confidence in a bait as I have this one now. Soft plastic baits, I've had a lot of confidence in soft plastic baits because I know, that I can catch a lot of fish on soft plastic baits. I had a lot of confidence in the 8-inch slammer worm, and that thing has exceeded all expectations this past year. And I'm sure that it's going to exceed even more expectations this upcoming year, especially when I get ready to unveil some of the new baits. I've got a bunch of new baits planned. I'm pretty excited about those. And I'm just really excited about it. I've got a bunch of videos that I'm really excited about making here pretty soon. Once the water gets warmer, I'm really excited about it. Look at that action, you guys. That's a quick retrieve. Then there's kind of a 1-2 retrieve. I need to get something to clear off my reel. Hang on a second. Okay, got the reel fixed now. It was so frozen up I could hardly even reel it. But I've got a lot of confidence in this bait. I think it'll catch something big. I don't know if it'll catch a giant bass. I don't know if it'll catch a muskie. But I definitely do think that it will catch a fish. I'm sure that some of the 3-pounders and 4-pounders that I was catching last year, I would not be surprised at all if one of them came up on this bait this summer. I think that post-spawn, this bait will definitely be a key bait that I throw a lot because of how big it is. It's a big meal, and it's an easy meal, especially when that water gets up, close to 60 degrees, 70 degrees. I think that them fish are going to be looking. They're going to be hungry after that spawning season. I think this will be definitely a key player this year, along with some of my other Doc's Lure Company baits, swim jigs, and stuff like that. One thing that I'm going to be really shocked about probably is when I get this bait right up here like this right here, and then all of a sudden a 50-inch muskie just eats it right there. That's probably going to scare the crap out of them and give me a heart attack, but that's what I'm hoping happens. That'd be awesome. So we're going to go ahead and cut this video off right here. If you guys want to purchase that bait there, I bought it off of eBay at Tackle Supply Depot. You guys can go to their place and find it. It's called the Strike King Mega Dog. They have they have 2 other sizes, the regular Sexy Dog and the smaller Sexy Dog. Easily 2 of my favorite topwater baits, and this one here, if I can catch fish on it, will definitely become one of my favorites. So stay tuned. There will be another video after this one goes up. So thank you guys for watching once again. Bye.